Shalom all. Welcome to the KosherTorah channel. I'm Rabbi Ariel. The purpose of the videos that we're going to be doing right now is to teach you practical applications of biblical style prophetic meditation, one step at a time now. There's lessons that are for everybody, not just the religious, not just the spiritual people. Everyone now needs to reconnect with God, and everyone needs to know how this is realistically and practically to be done. So if you like this video, please click on the like icon, subscribe to our channel for future video notifications. And if you like the content of these videos and what we're going to learn now, then please express your support by offering your gift through either PayPal or our Patreon pages. The links will be below. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, for your support. Now, let's get busy, saving lives and the help of God contribute to making our world a better place. Okay, we all know what's going on in the world. We all now know how dangerous the times are. I've been writing about this to my KosherTorah school students for a long time, and only recently I've been instructed to do something which I never normally do, and that is to actually teach guided meditations in a public forum. And I'm going to tell you why. What we practice has its beginnings from the days of the Bible in the schools of the biblical prophets. Go read your Bibles carefully. It says very clearly, prophets weren't just called upon, the likes of which we see portrayed in movies and television. No, they actually went to prophets' school, where in which they learned specific techniques of expanding the mind so as to become aware of the psychic's, what we call spiritual reality that surrounds us all the time. In light of modern times, a lot of things are happening right now. For those of you who know me from the television program Ancient Aliens, you know that I tried to give a message that the television show really doesn't want to receive, and that is that the walls of division between the religion and what's really happening in the world, they're not very divided. They're not thick walls. In other words, what's happening in the world today and what we think we know and understand about religion, they're one and the same. We have to understand that which we call God is not what we think it is. In other words, if you think God's a little old man with a white beard sitting on a cloud somewhere, you've been watching too many cartoons. It's nothing of the kind. We live in a reality of multiple dimensions, and each of those dimensions is populated with its own indigenous species of beings, all of whom interact with us. Right now, human society is being nudged. That's why we see such upheavals, because tremendous changes are underway. And like the words of the Psalm says, it's time to act for God because they've made void His Torah. Now, when we use the word Torah, we're not just describing the 5 books of Moses, the law and the religion, and the silly understanding of the biblical stories that unfortunately all too many people embrace. We're talking about the natural way of things, because that which we call the Torah of God, all right, it's far more than just a moral code by which we human beings are supposed to live. It's the universal way of things. In the Chinese tradition, they called it the Tao. So essentially, the Torah is the way. And indeed, the concept of the universal way is well known in Judaism. We call it, of course, by its Hebrew name, and that is halacha. Most people interpret that as Jewish law, but it comes from the root word holech, which means to go. It's the way to go. It's the way to live. You see, I can talk to you about theory. I can talk to you how things are, and you'll nod your head and you either agree or disagree. What value is that? I'm not here for promotion of what I believe. I am here to share with you your own way. In other words, I want you to see with your own eyes. I want you to hear with your own ears. I want you to experience for yourselves. That is why it is vital that the ancient traditions that have passed down literally, realistically, for thousands of years, have to be made publicly available. Now, I've written about this in my books, Let There Be Knowing, Using the Holy Names of God, Walking in the Fire, books which are readily available on Amazon.com. I'll put a link in the description below for you so you can go check them out. But book learning is one thing. Practice is another. So in this series of videos, I'm going to be teaching you about the practice, and I'm going to walk you through it. So rather than just talk on and on and on, blah, 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 like so many others do, now is the time for practice. We talk about prepping for the hard times to come. And everybody is so concerned about getting enough foods and firearms and securing things and that. But you're forgetting what they call the great rule of three, right? You have 3 minutes without air, 3 days without, 3 hours without appropriate shelter in a harsh environment, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, etc. But they always mention that you hit a wall at about 3 months, and that's, you need hope. You need faith. In order to get through hard times, like the old saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And the only way that's going to do it, because the forces that be in the world are making this happen now, we have to connect with the source. So with that being said, let me introduce you to the way things were done in biblical times. It says clearly in the book of Zechariah, and you can see the verse over my shoulder on the shviti, we call that, on the wall. It says, those who will call upon my name, I will answer. God says, you will say to God, that, you're my people, and God will say, whatever, you read the verse. The point is, this is the name to call upon. When we need faith, we need hope. How do we call upon the name of God? Now, there is a way to recite the name and call upon the name audio. However, remember the 10 Commandments? The 10 Commandments say, shall not take the name of the Lord in vain. What does that mean, in vain? Inappropriately. Well, how do I know if I'm being appropriate or inappropriate with reciting the real name of God? Well, you don't. God does. So therefore, the sages of old made a rule that the name of God should never be recited as is, for fear that one inadvertently would violate one of the top 10 commandments. And that's pretty bad to do. So therefore, even though we do know how the name is recited, and yes, you'll go into my book, Let There Be Knowing, and you'll see there is a chapter there, and I show you exactly how it's done, and in future lessons in this series, we'll get into that. But we do not focus on audio sound. We focus on visual sight. Just like if you go to the story of Mount Sinai. It says something very weird there, that the people saw the sounds. You're supposed to hear sounds, not see them. But I'm going to teach you now how to do this. And mind you, this is not a practice unique to our sacred Torah tradition. Even in the East, they know the difference between an audio meditation, which they call a mantra, and a visual meditation. I think they call it a yantra. I'm not obviously as familiar with the Eastern traditions as I am my own. So we're going to stay faithful to our Torah traditions. And I'm going to teach you how to connect with God. Over my shoulder, you will see the name of God as it is portrayed in the Bible. 4 letters. Little one followed by 3 big ones. For those of you who do not know Hebrew, the little letter is called a yud, followed by the letter hey, followed by the letter vav, followed by the letter hey. This is the name of God that God revealed in the Torah. This is the name that God himself says, this is my name. Now, what's a name? We all have names. Tom, Dick, Harry, right? Peter, Paul, Mary, whatever. No. The name of God is a code. And it's the code which needs to be deciphered and understood. Look at the 3 big letters, hey, vav, hey. In Hebrew, if you know grammar and all that kind of stuff, the letters hey, vav, hey form the root verb hoveh, which means to be, action, reality. And when you put the letter yud as a prefix before a verb form in Hebrew, you transform the verb from the passive to the active tense. So God's name, if we could translate it, would mean active being or being in action. Not a very personal way of understanding a personality, but it's the reality of existence. So right now, like I said, enough talk. Now I'm going to teach you meditative technique, which you're now going to have to practice. Rule number one about meditation is to understand what it is that we're doing. We are not here to try to make ourselves relaxed, feel good about ourselves, be happy with the world, kumbaya, love everybody. That's a bunch of nonsense. That is most certainly not truth. It sounds like drugged out state of disconnect with the reality of the world. Look at your religious scriptures from around the world. And it is very clear and evident that we live in a reality of conflict. And you can, as they say, put your head in the sand to deny it, but it does not go away. You know the story of conflict in the mystical traditions of the Kabbalah. We speak about the great battle. The Christians understand this, in Islam they understand this. Even in the Hindu tradition, read your Bhagavad Gita. What is the foundation of that entire epic? It is the story of the war between Arjuna and his brothers. Even in Buddhist scriptures, in which they speak about the ultimate unity of things, they recognize that you're still at war with the illusions of this world. We need to dissolve those to know truth. Truth is not going to come to you from my mouth. Truth is going to come to you from your own mind and heart that will experience it. As you learn how to properly meditate, properly astral project, properly experience and commune with the higher intelligences and beings that are surrounding you and me right now. No further ado, let's get busy. Relax. Deep breathing. Wherever you are, doesn't matter. Don't do this while you're driving or where your attention is otherwise required. Find a quiet and private place. Turn off the extra music. You don't do this to any music. Now, we'll get to music at another time. Relax. Open up your shirt if you need to. Open up the pants. Whatever it takes. You can be sitting down. You can be lying down. You can be standing on your head if that's what works for you. You see things in the Eastern tradition where they put their hands in this special ways. Forget all that nonsense. You don't need any of that. Even in the prophetic tradition of Avraham Abulafia, he's doing all these different head meditations, movements and stuff. Forget that. You don't need any of this. Follow the great KISS rule. Keep it simple and straightforward. Breathe forward. Breathe deeply. Breathe forward. Breathe back. Whatever. Just relax. Take it easy. Be by yourself. Clear your mind of questions. This is not academic time. This is not a university course. In your mind, visualize this symbol, this name of God. 4 letters, Yud, K, Vav, K. You can see it right there. Matter of fact, in the section below, I'll put a link to, I think I have a JPEG of this, so that if you want, you can print it out and hold it in front of you. Because the purpose is you got to memorize this image, these letters. For those of you who are of the Torah observant path, as I am, and of course you recognize Hebrew. It's easy for us. But this is a public video. We have all of you out there on YouTube and Facebook and elsewhere who I know are not from the Torah path, and this is going to be new to you. These lessons are addressed to you too. Close your eyes. As best as you can, visualize this name. If you recognize the letters and you can close your eyes and visualize it, fine. If not, pick up a piece of paper and hold it in front of you and look at it. Look at the name. Don't worry about how it's pronounced. It's irrelevant. Look at its form. Now, just for the record, this is the present form of the holy name. There was an earlier ancient form, what they call Paleo-Hebrew. We'll get to that at another time. Right now, like I said, step one, you have to connect with God. You have to learn to experience the presence. Breathe deep. And offer a prayer in your own words. Doesn't have to even be verbal. In your mind. God, are you there? Visualize this name. Just look at the name. Visualize. Reach out to it. And say, God, please talk to me. Speak within my mind, my heart. Please, I'm reaching out to you. Answer me. Put that in your own words. Relax. You see, a guided meditation is very hard to do in a public forum because it's nothing so verbal that it can be actually talked about. You just have to do this. Visualize the name. Breathe deep. Call out to God in your mind and your heart. Say, God, this is the name that you revealed. This is your name. You are everything, everywhere. I am in you. Please be in me. Relax. Very, very important. Relax. Be quiet. Visualization of the name. You don't need anything else other than a basic, simple expression. Oh, we will expand on this in the many videos yet to come. But right now, visualize this name. And there's an ancient tradition taught by the great sage Abraham Abulafia. If you want, visualize a nondescript being of light. Visualize this name upon that individual. Visualize that nondescript individual. Don't put a face or a name to it. And say, God, I want to be here for you. Please open up to me. It's a simple invitation. Breathe deep, quiet, private, just you and God. Because in the ultimate scheme of things, that's all the reality that there is. Always. Reach out. Feel the presence. Call upon the presence if you can't feel it. Invite God to come into you. And be ready and willing to receive the divine presence in your mind, in your conscience, in your heart. And be willing and open to receive the changes that are going to come. Because if hard times are going to come, you're going to need to be in the right place, in the right time, and in the right way. And only God can guide you to do this. So, bond now with this name. Learn it well, ingrain it in your memory. Feel its presence within you. There's no time limit. You can do this for 1 minute, or you can do it for an hour. It doesn't matter. We don't need superfluous rules and rituals. What we need is the flexibility to reach out and touch God. Because when you reach out to touch God, God's going to reach out and touch you back. Start with this lesson. Breathe, relax, visualize, call upon the name. And in our next lesson, we'll take it further. Hey, I'm Ariel Tzadok. This is the KosherTorah School channel. Please, if you like this video, click like, subscribe to our channel, and please If you like this stuff, offer your gift or a donation to our Patreon page or our PayPal page and help support what we do here to get this message out. See you all next time. God bless. Shalom.